Welcome to the Talking AI podcast, where we talk AI with both experts in the field and early adopters. I'm your host, Matt Paige, and we're here to demystify AI for you so you can get some value from it. Let's talk some AI. We are live from Google I/O with a special episode of Talking AI today, and I'm joined by three of the top AI creators on the internet, Kushank Aggarwal, Marcin Teodoru, and Jay Enrique. Combined, these guys have a following of over 2.2 million people across the internet, which honestly just blows my mind a little bit. But welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, man.
All right. So now we only have 30 minutes. So we're going to move fast. We're going to hit the biggest updates from Google I/O and give you our unfiltered takes on what actually matters, what's hype, what people are actually going to use, and what could change the way we search, create, work, shop, interact with AI. There was a lot that was covered today, so we're going to try to get it in. But the thing that stood out to me is that this I/O didn't feel like a bunch of random AI announcements and demos. It felt like Google's really starting to show us that Gemini is becoming this intelligence layer across everything they own: search, YouTube, Gmail, Docs, Chrome, Android, shopping, even glasses, which was really cool. And that raises the big question for today. Does Google's advantage come from having the best individual AI products or from having the distribution of billions of people? I don't know, Kushank, I'd be curious your take on that to kick us off.
Yeah, I would say compared to other companies, Google is not trying to bring people to AI. It's bringing AI to people. For example, they talked about AI mode having 1 billion users in the first year. That's only possible because everyone's already going to google.com for every single question they have.
Yeah.
That's the distribution power.
Yeah, it's almost less about which AI tool is the best. That's still critically important. But as we're in this bubble, we talk about AI every day. Everybody's seen the viral chart of the different blocks, and there's this tiny little block of people that are actually using AI every day. But it seems like if you can bring AI to this massive group of people, that's the strategy in a sense. I don't know. The Google search was the big one to me. I'm curious, I don't know, Marcin or Jay, it always felt like search was almost disconnected. They were trying to weave in AI, but this Google I/O, it felt like it's becoming a core, like AI is a core theme in it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess one of the things that stood out to me is exactly what you were saying, Matt, around search, right? Because for the longest time with AI, one of the things that we were looking for is this everything app, or will we have an everything app that will basically do all your shopping for you? And one of the things that stood out to me yesterday was when Google said that they were processing was it like quadrillion?
Yeah, so I got this stat: 9.7 trillion tokens per month 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
A year ago, it was 480 trillion, but then they came out with the 3.2 quadrillion tokens, which is like, y'all know what a quadrillion is?
No.
Does anybody here know how many zeros that is?
I think it's a million millions, no?
Yeah, we got to ask Jim. Keep going on that point because the growth is just exploding with this token usage.
Exactly. So we might find ourselves next year with Sundar saying another big number, because once more AI is being served to more people on search, like search is the big thing. And it's very clear that directionally is where they're taking it. And so if you bring, and in fact, one of the things that they were talking about is bringing anti-gravity, like where would have you thought an agentic coding platform being brought to the masses more than search being integrated with something like anti-gravity, right?
Yeah.
So like the billions of people who are using Google search now, who can generate their own UIs, is going to be big, not just in the token usage, but also in the experience of people and bringing them into the fold, let's say.
Quick break in the pod. Our State of AI 2026 report just dropped, and it breaks down what actually is changing in AI, what's hype, and what leaders need to be paying attention to this year. You can grab it right now on our show notes or at hatchworks.com.
Did y'all catch that though? That was the other part that was so interesting on search. And it was like other things too, but it was like this ability to build these generative UIs, custom dashboards. And if I remember correctly, it was almost like native in search. They had the whole thing with like Docs kind of going after Whisperflow a bit. But any thoughts on that experience? How does that habit begin to change for the rest of the world as they get this power?
I think one of the great things is we're all builders here, right?
Yeah.
And now literally 3 billion people get to actually see that by moment where they're like, oh, can you make me a chart of a simulation of the solar system? And they see a build, they see that it's coding. So I think just giving people the ability to see that for themselves in search, which is kind of wild. And touch on your point, I had no idea search was a thing. Like before coming here, like I haven't used Google search in 3 years since AI, right? Since ChatGPT moment. And then I'm like, once I looked at it, I was like, oh, wait, they have the infrastructure. They have 3 billion users. And now they're connecting the harness of vibe coding to the masses.
Yeah.
And it's kind of blowing my mind because now I'm actually going to go in because I played with it. I was like, it's all real time. They have every app out there. They have every user. And you can actually do it natively instead of using an API and trying to get like data from other sources. That's the part for me that just kind of blew my mind to see how that happened.
Does it feel like they've been kind of building this Death Star all along and now they're slowly like pointing it and they got search and they're just like ready to take off? But the point you mentioned, the democratization effect, I don't know your thoughts here, but like it's that moment, I'm sure we've all had it to where you're like, holy crap, like I can build anything with AI. And I wonder if this is going to be this like leap pad moment where people start to do more and then anti-gravity looks less scary and all the other tools that are out there. Cause there's still that mindset that people think, oh, I can't build. I don't know how to code.
I think that would still be two different things. To me, bringing anti-gravity is just like something in the back end for the users. They don't even know it's anti-gravity. That's
a good
when
point.
they're actually building something. To me, when they search, there's an intent. You just want to get to a result. You want to understand something. You want to get your question answered. And you're just able to get to the final result for the user a lot faster. And everything is just happening behind the scenes. At the same time, I'm curious how Google is going to approach because their biggest revenue engine is search.
Yeah.
If search is changing and you're getting away from the links and the AI mode and everything that's happening, how is it going to impact the small businesses who are relying on Google search results for everything for their business? So it's going to be tricky from that perspective, but from adoption of AI and just normal consumers, it's great because you bring the power of AI where people already are. Our moms are searching on Google. They're not going to go into Gemini for the most part, unless your moms are using Gemini and like building things into it.
So every time I talk to my mom, she's like, you got to download that ChatGPT thing on my phone. And she never does it, but like every point, but I'm sure that's with a lot of people, right? It's like they need that nudge. And maybe it is the fact that it's going to be native in there that's going to do it. But you touched on something too. I don't know if y'all caught this with YouTube and how that's evolving. I thought that was very cool because it's like, and this is the shift from the query to the 10 blue links. It's almost going from like search engine to like action engine in a sense or something. Maybe they should coin that phrase. But the cool part was it like takes you to the moment in the video that you need, and it has contextual stuff there as well. Y'all are all creators here. What are your thoughts on how that evolves discoverability and just that experience with users finding things via YouTube?
I think for me, it was actually a moment where I realized, actually, to your point, which is local businesses. So people make content online, right? Short form is huge on YouTube. So now imagine being a local plumber, and now you're making a piece of content saying, hey, I'm a local plumber in San Diego. And now through search, you're going to be able to find that exact video at that exact timestamp of the location, the reviews, all that stuff in a short form content, and obviously long form YouTube. Like to me, that was like the whole thing of like discoverability for people that never use it like us, because we're creators, right? So we make the content actively.
Yeah.
But for now, I think there's just gonna be a whole new world for just the local businesses to do that type of content and get discovered in a whole new medium. So it's very exciting, I think, in that sense. Yeah.
They had the example of your kid going from the balance bike to pedal bike, and they had the example of the dad with the towel wrapped around their waist to guide them. I was like, oh my God, that's genius. So I'm going to go try that when I get home with my 4-year-old there. The next big thing, Gemini Spark. So agents is obviously the biggest thing. So you knew Google was coming with something agentic in nature, but I'd be curious all of y'all's takes here. But I feel like everybody that comes out with something agentic, a lot of it has the high promise of it's the everything agent tool, whatnot, and then it falls flat. But I'm curious your thoughts on Gemini Spark. How do you think it's going to do? I don't know if anybody's tried it yet, but just the concept of it and bringing this agentic approach into Google.
Yeah, I think it has huge potential. Like directionally, it makes sense for them to dive more into the space. But I feel like with a lot of these agentic platforms, it is very determined by the implementation of it. Like how good is it? Yeah. Because I think right now it's not yet publicly available. It will probably be in beta in a few weeks or months. Yeah. With a lot of these tools, though, the way that we use it is probably going to determine if it's really valuable or not. Is it going to replace Claude Cowork for a lot of people? Yeah. Is it going to replace the people who are using OpenClaw? Because when the product managers of Google developing Gemini Spark is thinking about that, they're probably thinking about those agentic platforms as well, right? And so But a lot of these Google tools, even though there's a lot of, let's say, combination of things into Gemini, they also mentioned a few new things that seem to be very Google-esque, like Gemini Spark is there. I think they mentioned this new tool called Google Pix, which are clearly slightly experimental that are very Googly.
Yeah.
So maybe Gemini Spark is one of that, but time will tell. Like, it's only based on users trying it out, whether we will see survive.
The one bit of feedback I got for Google is they have so many dang products. It's tough to keep up with, but all of them are so cool in nature as well. But I don't know, any other thoughts on the agentic nature with, especially with it being in the Google ecosystem? I think that's like a key thing we see from a lot of companies we work with is that intelligence layer. Every company we talk to is getting huge value, but it's in silos. The individuals like doing some cool stuff with Claude Code and somebody's doing something else over here with OpenClaw, but they don't have the shared context.
In my perspective, Google is approaching all their product releases a bit different to other players in the space. Everyone else is building for early adopters, Claude Code, Codex, for people who are at the frontier of adoption. But this Google I/O felt like it's mostly meant for people who are not at the forefront of adoption. They are a little behind, and that's like where the bell curve comes in, the majority of people where they are. And I like the idea of Spark, and I like the fact that it's actually constrained to just Google products with MCPs rolling out soon. And the reason I say that is with any product, for example, Cloud Cowork, Cloud Code, Codex, you feel like you have endless possibilities. A lot of people feel scared and intimidated because they don't even know where to start. They don't even know what they can do.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have limited number of tools you can connect to, which means it's easier for them to communicate those use cases, for example, with the daily brief that they launched within the Gemini as one of their agents.
Yeah.
So pre-packaging all of those things would make adoption easier, in my opinion, because for most people, 80% of the things you're going to be building is going to be the same. You need something for emails, you need something for project management, you need something for communication. So those things are the same regardless of what people do for work, and only 20% of the things which are custom for everyone's workflows. So I think it's going to ease adoption for people and feel comfortable with the concept of agent. The other thing is people feel scared of agent. I think calling it Spark actually changes the narrative a little bit. Instead of saying, we not say, okay, let me just go put a query and get page ranking and see which page ranks first. You just say, I'm going to search it. You go for intent based. You kind of change the narrative, and agent is not an intent. So I think maybe we'll see how it plays out, but it could be interesting play if it really works. Let me just spark that quickly. Let me just spark it and I'll get the result. You get to the intent base versus getting stuck in I need to build an agent. Building an agent just seems very heavy for a lot of people. Feels a lot of work, even though it's just a prompt.
Yeah. So A+ on the Spark name. We'll see if they turn that into a verb.
I would like to add actually a note
go.
on that. So one thing I thought about too is it definitely isn't going for the tech people, right? It's obviously going consumer. But the one thing I found interesting was they finally in the AI space, Google is starting to standardize things.
Yeah.
So we obviously saw agent payment.
Yeah.
They're the first ones. And what did they say on stage? We finally all agreed on something.
The
Then they
shopping
did-
cart stuff, that
shopping
universal
cart.
shopping cart, everybody
so I
has that same
think
point.
they're going standardization and becoming like the layer for everyone. And I think that's going to include agents. I think that's going to be the first thing that they're going to roll out. And basically, because right now you can't connect obviously OpenClaw, you can't bring stuff over, you can't take Hermes stuff. I think they're going to somehow figure that out because they're going to get 1 billion people using it versus 600,000 of us in the AI weeds learning OpenClaw. And then I think once they get enough data, I think they're going to actually be like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Let's standardize this so then everybody can communicate each other. That's my thought on it.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's I think what they're going.
I like the daily brief they came out with. That's one of the first ones. I always start with a client so you can get like instant value, connect your stuff in there. But on the enterprise side, obviously this is not the GCP conference, but they rolled out their Gemini enterprise agent platform. Trying to remember one of the names, right? But they had a concept of an agent garden, which is the same thing. It's these agents that tons of people are using and they're packaging it and making it easier. It's such a big point on the ease of getting started and whatnot. So, all right, few minutes left. I think the big thing, this is like the wow moment, especially y'all are all creators here, but we had Google Omni, which was very cool. We had Pix as well. Let's start with Google Omni. So this is their world model. Maybe Jay, what is a world model? What's the value there? I know Demis has some interesting perspectives on that. Past just, I can create some really cool videos with me in them.
Yeah, I think you can think of Omni as just a video model, but I think if you step back a bit, directionally, you can see Google approaching this sort of path to AGI a bit different versus OpenAI and Anthropic. Because if you talk about OpenAI and Anthropic. Like, what's their solution to get to AGI? It's just solve coding, right? And everything will take care of itself. But something unique that Dennis has always talked about is that you need some sort of world model in order to achieve AGI, because he's thinking about something broader apart from just computer use and computer work. He's thinking about like robotics and being able to simulate worlds, right? And so I think Omni is just a sort of a very an infancy stage product into something that is going to be folded probably into Gemini in the future, maybe. But I think based on how they are speaking, that seems to be it. Because right now, if you were to compare it as a video model versus something like Dance, for example, I don't think it matches up. It might have different use cases. I saw a take where it's like NanoBanana for video, where you can edit things out and place things back in and can do it quite well. But if you are, let's say, wanting the best scenes for your video production, it might not be the best thing. Well, of course, time will tell, because for example, the API is not yet available, but the costs can be debated. But I think it's a much larger play than just being a video model by itself.
I'm not betting against Demis, and I'm not betting against Andres Karpathy, which any takes on him moving to Anthropic, that was wild.
If anything, OpenAI is gonna have to step up their game, if anything.
Yeah, totally.
If people it's not just even the talent they're losing, they're also losing the marketing play with it.
Yeah, exactly. So on the Omni, has anybody created a video yet? Because this one's actually available to everybody now, right?
Yeah, I spent like an hour on it. It's pretty quick. So to do like a 10-second video, it took about 45 seconds, which I thought was actually pretty impressive. The NanoBanana kind of vibe was really good. So I just took a pre-made scene that they had. And those pre-made scenes are always perfect.
Yeah.
And then just did a replacement, put my face in it from a low-res image off of my website. And I was actually very impressed with that part of it. But when I did do, to your point, try to make a new video, I was like, hey, make me a video of Wes Anderson style girls spinning in slow motion in front of the Eiffel Tower with balloons popping up and the guy's kind of looking at me. I'm just pushing it to the max, right? And it was not that great, personally. But again, it's day one, right? And they're only going to optimize it. And they said it's all running on 3.5 Flash, which was their big announcement. So once it goes pro, I think it's going to be like Dance 1 to Dance 2 moments.
Yeah, it was
in the
interesting
video
too.
space. Yeah.
On the at one point I said, they mentioned that if enterprises moved to 3.5 Flash, they could save 80% on their token costs. So you can see that's a big thing they're thinking about right now. But it's funny, they had the NanoBanana booth. I don't know if any of y'all tried that, but they had the preset things you could do. Yeah. And I did a 90s one. They turned me into a mixture of Danny Tanner from, what is that, Full House, and Tim Allen. It was very bad. We'll link that in the show notes. But the Pix product, I don't know, Kushank, any thoughts on that? I think the editability was a really cool feature. And with, I guess, I'd be curious because ChatGPT Images 2.0 is amazing. And I didn't see the NanoBanana enhancement to the model, but it was almost like this editability that came out.
Which is usually the final step if you're using any AI tool. When you are using any image generation or video tool, you need to get into editing. You just cannot have or expect a prompt to do those very fine tweaks, which is where I think the editability is the next stage versus just trying to build a better model. Because you can try to build a better model, but even if it produces a great result, you may have to tweak something. You may want to move text from here to there. So I think editability, which is the usability, comes in to meet that, to finish the last mile, is where companies should be building products. I think Claude Design did a good job at it because everything you design within Claude Design has the editability layer baked into that product, which turns into a product overall.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just becomes more like an actual tool for users, right?
Yeah,
like Photoshop. You can go in and just change one line.
Totally.
And that's always been missing. And so my designer's been using, obviously, design tools for so long now. And I'm like, hey, here's an account. Just go make a bunch of images for us. And next thing he's got the image. I'm like, it looks perfect. I was like, how much did that cost? He's like, I don't know. I did 300 images. I was like, what? Are you serious? Because I would never do that. I would just kind of be like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
300 renders, right? Now you don't have to do that. You make
totally
one
different,
and then you tweak it a little bit. Now it's 5, 6 versus 300.
Our workflow currently has been you generate with any base model you want to do. Then you take it to Canva, use magic layers, separate everything out, and then just make whatever changes you want to make manually.
Yeah,
I like
It's
that.
a lot faster.
But they had some of that, I think, in this Pix tool where you could almost do the layering and it identified stuff. That was really interesting. I still got to play with that one. All right, couple minutes left. You got a point on that?
I just wanted to go back onto Omni model. So you're comparing it with Dance. I actually see it a bit differently.
Yeah.
With all the templates and everything that they dropped, I see it more of a platform play compare it to tools like Higgsfield.
Yeah.
Because the reason tools like Higgsfield are popular, not because they have their own models, It's just to bring the usability in with all those preset templates and everything else, which is where, again, most people, they don't even know where to start unless you're like a legend and you're like videographer and cinematographer by trade. You have the creative vision. People just need things they can start with, have those ideas and go from it, which is where I saw Omni comes in, model plus the platform eventually with Google Flow.
Yeah.
So you have a way to now bring your creative ideas into life rather quickly.
Yeah, no, I like that perspective. Okay, couple minutes left. Fire round. I'm going to ask a question. Hit me first thing that comes to your mind. We'll just go Marcin and go around the couch here. Most important announcement from Google I/O.
3.5 Flash.
3.5.
As a vibe coder, somebody that spends a lot of time
yes.
building, I want to try it. I can't wait to connect it to anti-gravity and just let it rip.
Saving
that
some money on the
demo of
tokens.
the OS, what they showed was pretty impressive, so for sure.
I would say Gemini Spark. I'm curious to see how wider adoption they can actually get out of this.
Yeah, totally. Jay?
Probably the stuff in search, like all the announcements in search are, I think, the most wide-ranging in terms of impact.
Yeah.
Especially the people who are already using it are going into the space that we already know.
Yeah. Most overhyped announcement.
Omni.
Omni, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, circle back to me. That's
Yeah, okay. Jay, you got one?
I was really expecting a lot more from the anti-gravity
Yeah.
announcements.
Or I guess, what was not there that you wanted to see? Maybe it's the other angles.
So I guess that was, at least in the developer space, people were looking forward to the anti-gravity 2.0 replacement. But I think it was more directionally aligning to what seemed to be becoming a standard with the Codex type of apps rather than an improvement versus what they had.
Totally.
Actually, I would go back on that front too, like anti-gravity. So you know how I talked earlier how Gemini Spark is great for normal users who are like just want to ease in. But for power users, I think having all those MCPs and those features available in anti-gravity to be able to do more complex stuff would have a lot of people in, again, vibe coders and people who are at the frontier of development and adoption would have been really good for them because now they're still going to be stuck with either Cloud Code, Cloud Cowork, or Codex.
All right. Next one. What's the first thing you're using tomorrow once you get back home or back into normal life? What's the first thing from what was released?
I'm still definitely AI search. I can't wait to actually go in there and try all those tools once it's available. But again, just 3.5, I'm going to start building stuff. I want to just set a goal, let it run for 10 hours and really see if what they showed on stage is actually real.
And you can mention something that they said is going to be released this summer. So you could say that technically if you could use it tomorrow. So I'll open it up to that.
I would actually be curious to try Omni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Jay?
I wanted to stress test Omni too, although I'm really curious on Spark. That's
Yeah. And the one thing we didn't talk about today was the glasses. That was a cool little demo. Who here got to try those out?
I got the demo.
Yeah. What'd you think real quick on that before we wrap?
I liked it. So it was my first time trying any of those mixed reality classes.
Same. I've never done it before.
And I like the fact that it was not intrusive. I thought it'd be intrusive and it was very light, just felt like normal glasses to me. And if I'm looking further away, I'm like, that's not even my vision. I don't even see that screen per se. But if I'm trying to look closer, let's say I'm looking at Mike right now, then I could see that little screen in there.
Yeah.
And which is very well designed. Again, I don't have comparison with Meta glasses just yet, but I've been skeptical of mixed reality glasses because I just feel like what's the difference between reality and you're just stuck in your screen and being caught and bumping into the holes and whatnot. But I think it was well done.
Yeah, it's the first time I tried it too. It was less intrusive than I thought. The language translation was cool because I had somebody there speaking, I don't know what language it was, but we had like a conversation, which was very cool because I could read what they were saying, which is neat.
The best part was I use Gemini Live a lot.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can just have my glasses and Gemini Live is fantastic. A couple of weeks ago, I was golfing and I was like getting stuck in the sandpit every single time.
Yeah.
I actually opened up Gemini. Hey, Gemini, can you just help me get out of this bunker in one shot? And Gemini was like, okay, put your clay fuzz guns on, put your club face here, open it up, move your stance, and then hit your shot. And it was great. I was on the green.
Yeah.
So if I have those glasses, I don't have to hold my phone and just be like, hey, I'm stuck here again. Or maybe I'm trying to putt. Give me a little tips here. That could be cool just to have the virtual assistant. The other thing which I thought was super cool was the audio. It felt like I had earphones on.
Yeah.
Just how stereo the audio was. And no one around me could actually hear. Yeah. It was like incredible how they were able to do that audio engineering into it. And no one could hear you. You can turn up the music for volume for the music. And it just feels like it's here and here, just coming like a surround sound.
Yeah. Okay. The golf use case is the best one yet. I'm trying that. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap. Where can people find you? I know y'all are on all the platforms. And by the way, if you're not, we'll link them in the show notes. But if you're not following these guys, you need to be. They have amazing content. But Marcin, where's the best spot to find you?
I would say just my website, marcinai.com, and I run a school community. So all that information.
That's right. If you are a builder or wanting to build, check out that community. It's amazing what some of the people in there are building right now.
Digital Samaritan across all socials and practically AI for all the use cases.
Yeah. And he has some of the best AI use cases out there. Jay?
Just search Robo Nuggets everywhere. I mainly am on YouTube and yeah, Instagram as well. So if you search Robo Nuggets, that should pop up.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for talking some AI.
Appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Talking AI podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to leave us a review. We love those. For more info on Talking AI, visit talkingaipodcast.com. Quick break in the pod. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you've been thinking about how to actually use AI inside your business. And that's exactly why we built the AI Opportunity Finder. It's a free tool that helps you uncover high impact, tailored AI use cases based on your business, your goals, your pain points, and your industry. No fluff, no generic use cases, just real ideas that fit your business, and they're ranked by ROI potential. It takes about 3 minutes to run, and it's like having your own personal AI strategist for free. If you want to try it for free, check out the link in the show notes or go to hatchworks.com/AI-opportunity-finder.